welcome to Superhumans of ECE, a platform where I connect with different professionals in early childhood education. And again, that definition for me is very broad. It includes any professional who are supporting families and children, or who are supporting educators that are supporting these children and families. If you have any questions or anything like that about this project, you can go ahead and check me out on Instagram and my YouTube channel, which is Superhumans of ECE. So I am going to hand it off to my guest, our next superhuman of ECE. She's going to introduce herself. So Karla, you could just talk a little bit about your background and kind of what you're up to right now.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Ward. I am the founder of Early Learning Foundations and a registered early childhood educator in Ontario, Canada. Early Learning Foundations is my personal business that I started because I wanted to make a difference in early childhood education. So we have tutoring, we have an e-commerce store with hands-on learning materials, as well as we run workshops for early childhood educators. And we just like to connect with educators, and my goal is to make early childhood education one of the most respected professions in Canada, or really big picture, the world, because I do think we don't get the credit that I know we deserve.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you mentioned the word respected, because I think that's missed a lot in our profession. So I love that that's a part of your mission. Where can we find, where's the best updated information for your foundation?
So best place to find us is on Instagram at EL Foundations. There we have our updated webinar that we're running on Saturday, May 23rd. We're running a storytelling webinar. And we have everything from the stuff that's coming out in our store. We have subscription boxes coming up this summer. So everything will be on Instagram.
Perfect. And for our viewers listening, I am going to be tagging Karla in the Instagram post, so you will be able to get all that information. And I believe you have a link to your website there as well, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. So our first question for you, Karla, is what tools do you value most as a professional?
So the first one that comes to mind is my laminator. I absolutely worship my laminator. I don't know what to do if it breaks.
Yeah.
And then after that would be my social media tools. So Google, I am a huge Google fan. I keep all my documentation in my Google Docs, Google Drive, my Google Sheets.
Awesome.
And then for documentation as well, I love Seesaw and my Instagram. I am a huge Instagrammer.
Yeah. And I mean, right now in this day and age, it's so important, right? That's the way we stay connected. And since actually we talked about that, I did also want to ask you, do you feel like your work has changed since the pandemic has happened, or have you always been pretty virtually connected?
I've always been virtually connected, but the biggest thing that's changed is part of my job is tutoring, and tutoring was an evening job. It's always been an evening position for me. I'm still tutoring kids that are in grade 11, and I was their kindergarten teacher. So I've been tutoring my students for a long time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I love them. And
what a lovely way to stay connected.
Yeah, it's been great. And the one thing that's changed is now, instead of only tutoring them in the evenings, I'm basically tutoring 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. So that's been a real shift, but I'm so lucky that I've been able to support them because parents work. They can't be online with their students all the time, or their children all the time. So I'm happy that I have that relationship with the kids. I mean, I've been with them 13 years. So it's been great.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you find it hard now that you're available kind of like the whole day for them to be able to do the tutoring, or from a certain block of time as opposed to the evening? Because I am doing a professional development workshop coming up that I'm facilitating, and we are talking about professional boundaries. So are you finding it a bit hard to kind of set time of, this is the time I start, this is the time I end, and unfortunately, if I'm not available at that time, I'm not available at that time? Are you finding that a bit difficult with the shift?
I've had to tighten it for sure, because when this all started back in March, it was, no problem, we can jump on. Yep, we're good. Yeah. And now it's, okay, at 8 o'clock, the computer is being shut. Goodbye, technology. The glasses come off. Hello, Netflix and wine.
That's awesome. We need that. We need that stuff to stay sane, right? Or you're going to burn out. So I think that's great that you mentioned that. Yeah. And I think in the beginning, we're all getting used to it, right? Especially in March, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can do this. And then you quickly realize, no, we can't do this. And it's just
it's not sustainable.
It's not, yeah, it's not sustainable, and it's also about how you're delivering the service that you're delivering to families. If you're going to be working that long hours, you're going to feel burnt out, not only for yourself, but for these families that you're supporting.
Oh, and that's just it. If you're not your best self, you can't teach the best way
Yeah,
you can.
it's true. Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of actually brings us to our next question. What self-care methods, if you do use any, do you do to keep yourself driven in this profession? To kind of keep your motivation and passion alive.
So my big one is I have a spa trip that I book every July. So I kind of use a bit of a countdown that goes towards July, especially May,
Mhm.
June, when we've got spring fever, it gets a little
Right.
crazy. That
Mhm.
July trip really keeps me a little sane.
Mhm.
But also I'm a huge extrovert. So back before isolation, Starbucks coffee dates were a big one for me. Now
Yeah.
I do them online. I'll go get my Starbucks and meet everybody online.
Aw.
And I love networking. Like
Mhm.
networking is like us. I love connecting with people
Exactly.
who are like-minded, out to promote early childhood education. So
Mhm.
that's my own personal self-care.
I love that. I would say that's a part of mine too, in terms of kid networking. I absolutely love doing that. I think for me, I've mentioned before in my videos, but this project really started when I felt like I was burning out. And I'm like, no, I need to do something, keep myself driven. And I think it really supports us when we start to feel that feeling of maybe burning out, because we're able to do greater things for the community or for the people that we support. So I love that you mentioned that. I definitely feel that way too. And that's so cute. The Starbucks dates. That's
Oh,
lovely.
yes.
Get to stay connected virtually.
Oh, and we have to. Like human connection is so important.
It is, yeah. And we're very lucky I mean, not to say we're lucky for this to have happened, but we're lucky for this to have happened in this day and age where we're
Oh,
connecting virtually so much more, and we have the platforms to be able to do it. And a lot of like free platforms that come with when we have our iPhones, or, of course, if we're privileged enough to have this technology, but,
oh, absolutely. I couldn't imagine doing this without technology because a lot of us would be out of jobs.
yeah.
Like, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people are out of jobs, but most of
Yeah.
us have been able to stay online connected with our
Mhm.
students, keep that relationship going. And for me, being able to tutor and run my online courses.
Yeah, exactly. I think it sheds a new light to technology. I think technology sometimes can have a negative outlook for some people. So I think this may have shifted some people's perspective of technology and it being a positive thing too.
Oh, for sure. And for me, I'm definitely finding that I need that technology break. Like, I don't actually wear glasses, but I've had to like dig
Because
them out
of
because
screen
I'm
time.
on the computer so much
Mhm.
and I want nothing to do with technology at the end of the day.
And that's great, right? So you get to
It is.
disconnect. Whereas before, I don't know about you, but if I spend a whole day at work, I'll come back and I'll be more glued to my phone. Yeah, you'll be scrolling. So now you're like, that's enough. I've had enough of social media, right?
Oh yeah, I've read 2 books during isolation. It's been great because I
That's
am a reader, but
awesome.
yeah.
That's so great. And I see you do have a lot of books in the back too. So
Oh yes,
it's
I
great
do
that you're
love my
tackling
books.
more.
I do.
Awesome. So the last question, not our last little bit, but the last question is, what are some ways that you think that our profession can improve further?
My biggest one and the platform that I absolutely believe in is I think all early childhood educators should be on social media. Not maybe personally,
Mhm.
and not necessarily sharing the pictures of their students, because
Mhm.
there are privacy boundaries there that we want to
Of course.
respect.
Yeah.
But getting out there and showing the world what we do, because we do
Mm.
so much for our students and we get the gratification of seeing our students develop and grow,
Mhm.
but we see it in the four walls of our classroom.
Yeah,
So we need
exactly.
to start getting louder and prouder and bragging
Mhm.
about what we do. So, if your students are building, take a picture of what they've built. If you are
Yeah.
laminating at home, take a picture of yourself laminating. If you are sending emails at 7 o'clock at night, because we all know that none of us stop
Yeah.
working when the kids go home. We know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's about being louder about what we do,
Mhm.
because we deserve more pay. That's
Yeah.
100% true.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But there's a component to it where we need to get a little bit more in your face
Yeah.
about why we deserve that more pay.
Oh, I love that. That's powerful. Those are some powerful statements. I absolutely love that. And I couldn't agree more. I think when I started this platform and I was connecting with these professionals, I'm like, wow, the work that they're doing is so amazing. And I'm already in the profession. So I can't imagine what someone maybe from the outlook would be like, wow, like I never really knew that educators do these things. So I love that. Like we need to get in their face, be loud, be proud, get on these platforms and share what we do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the children's faces or this or that. And now is the best time, now that we're all, you know, well, I'm not gonna say we're all home, but most of us, and we're able to have that time to virtually utilize these platforms. I think it's a time to get comfortable with it more too.
Oh, absolutely. Like my biggest thing when I left the field was my phone, it doesn't have a lot of photos about what I do, but I know that I've spent a Saturday driving around picking up skids so that
Hmm.
I could build a mud kitchen.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I know I'm not the only one. So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
need to show off more of what we do for our students, because we
Hmm.
love it. We love what we do, and the
Yeah.
world should see our passion.
See it. I love that. That's my takeaway so far. Definitely. Be loud
I'm
and
so
be proud.
glad.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Okay, so our next little bit, or our last little bit, is you're going to be sharing a picture of us, which for my listeners, I'll be including on Instagram, and it'll also be in the YouTube video on my channel. And this photo, we're just going to ask you to describe it and what it means to you, basically why you've chosen it.
Perfect. So I picked blocks, plain blocks from our e-commerce store, the Elf Shop,
Mhm.
which you can find on our website, because block play to me is such an important learning curve for our students. They learn critical thinking, they learn cooperative play, and
Mhm.
it's kind of that core piece in every classroom that I think is so important,
Mhm.
because it's just that introduction to creative thinking.
Yeah.
They don't need the fancy things. I heard a quote, and I don't know who from, but somebody once said, take the plastic farmhouse out of your classroom, because a plastic farmhouse will always be a plastic farmhouse.
Yeah.
But the blocks could be a farmhouse. They could be a
So much.
spaceship. They could be a fairy castle.
Mhm.
So we make the blocks, and it's just block play is very important to me.
Yeah, I love that. It is a very open-ended item. I think I've always loved going into centers and seeing different types of blocks, and even this, just like you said, like the simple wooden blocks, because they get to create what they want to create with it. So I think that's really awesome. I think before we went on the call, you had mentioned that that's where kind of the inspiration stemmed from for your foundation.
Yes. So more so for our elf shops. So we started as a tutoring company,
Mhm.
then we moved into training early childhood educators. And then I was like, these educators don't, like, there are stores out there that will make natural parts, but
Mhm.
they're so expensive.
Yeah.
So a friend and I started making natural wooden blocks. Then we moved into story kits. So we have like the physical hands-on stuff, because
Mm.
it's so that, you're not just reading a story.
Mhm.
But it all started with blocks.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. It all does start with blocks, right? That's
Exactly.
so
It's the
cool.
foundation.
Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. So, Carla, do you have anything to add before we end off here?
No, mainly just I hope that every early childhood educator, after seeing this, starts some form of social media account, tags me in it. I want to share it. I want to follow you. I want us to network, so that we're all in this together.
Exactly. I love that. That's a great way to end off. So thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Carla. You will find our YouTube video of this wonderful conversation that I've had with Carla on my channel, and then you'll find the caption with the picture on Instagram of Superhumans of ECE, and I'll make sure to tag Carla in that too, and include the takeaway that you want everybody to take from it. So be loud, be proud, get a social media account. Let's show ourselves off as professionals.
That's right. Thank
Okay,
you so
thanks so much,
much.
Carla.